Hi, welcome to my very first booktube video, so not awkward at all. Anyway, here goes. My name is Leah and welcome to my Non-Fiction November TBR. I'm really excited to be participating in Non-Fiction November, and I would very much like to thank one of my favourite booktubers, Olive from A Book Olive, and Gemma from Non-Fic Books for hosting this yet again. I'm a fairly reasonable reader of non-fiction books with 1 or 2 books per month. So stretching it to 4 should not be too challenging, especially as the 4 books I've chosen to fit the prompts are books I've wanted to read for a long time and ones I'm pretty sure I can get through. The 4 prompts I'm excited about, but I thought I would put a spin on it and highlight Australian stories, Australian voices, Australian ideas, voices and stories that perhaps don't see their way to booktube all that frequently. So I'm really excited and proud to be able to highlight some of these stories. And also as part of that, I thought I would also recommend these books to some of my favourite booktubers. Again, because Australian stories need to be spread far and wide. The first book on the theme of home, A Rightful Place, A Roadmap to Recognition, a collection of essays from some of Australia's leading Aboriginal activists, academics, politicians, leading thinkers. Here in Australia, we're currently having a vigorous and rigorous debate as to how to recognise the Aboriginal people in our constitution. I think it's an abomination that the traditional owners of our land are not recognised, so I'm very much looking forward to this collection. I did start it a month back, but I just wasn't in the right headspace. I didn't have enough time and energy to devote to these very important essays. Also, as an aside, I'm covering up the bottom half of the book where they name a particular man. In Australian Aboriginal culture, it is considered inappropriate and disrespectful to name or show an image of a departed person, of a deceased person. So the foreword to this book was written by a very famous Australian Aboriginal musician who lost his life earlier this year. I really strongly recommend you look up Dr. G and who he was and his music to find out more about this wonderful, wonderful Australian. His foreword here is heartbreaking, heartwarming, yet hopeful about this roadmap to recognition. This book I recommend to Mercedes at Mercy's Bookish Musings. Lately she's been reading a lot about race relations and encouraging people to read more. She's read books from the United States and of course her home in England. So here I think an Australian viewpoint, a view from the Southern Hemisphere, might just round out her views and what she's been reading, and I think it's a great addition to her reading year. The next prompt, substance. Now I'm a pharmacist, so you would think that I would pick up a book about drugs, and I did read a fantastic book, A Woman of Substances, a couple of months ago by an Australian journalist. But this month, I'm transitioning that prompt to people of substance. And I've chosen this, Unbreakable, Women Share Stories of Resilience and Hope. Again, a collection of essays from women about times in their life where they've had to overcome work or personal, professional challenges and barriers to overcome, to grow, to strive, to achieve what they want to achieve. These women are from the political sphere, the public, media, academia, the arts, media, sports, and I'm really excited about looking into this. Again, I think an essay a day is an achievable way to get through this book. 2 of the essays in here in particular I'm interested in. Kathy Lett, who is known for her funny, her humorous books, her comedy, here is writing about the need to stand up and speak up for people who can't speak up for themselves. And the second essay I'm particularly interested in is that of Tracy Spicer. Tracy was a news anchor who took maternity leave, and when she came back was told her job's not there, it's been downgraded. She successfully challenged that and has her job back and is now thriving and achieving greater than ever. So I recommend this. The booktuber I'd like to recommend this to is Lauren from Lauren and the Books, who reads a lot about women, girl power, strong feminism titles, and I think this collection of essays from Down Under would be just up her alley. The third prompt of love. Now here in Australia, we take our elections very seriously. We take our referendums and our political process very seriously. We have compulsory voting, and we take it so seriously that our Deputy Prime Minister lost his job just last week for failure to comply to some of the legal requirements of the previous election, thus throwing 18 months worth of decisions and political process into jeopardy. So it's a nightmare. So when an important topic, an important theme like the same-sex marriage debate has come up, do we hold an election? Do we hold a referendum to make the decision? No. Do we let our duly elected officials make the decision in their normal parliamentary processes? No. We hold a volunteer postal survey. Like, what sort of rubbish is that? Anyway, the quarterly essay is written quarterly, and each quarter they have a very different topic, in-depth essay from one of Australia's leading thinkers. This one, Benjamin Law, a columnist in one of our largest newspapers, a social media commentator talking about gay activism and LGBTQ themes, talking about immigration, talking about modern Australia. He's a great, great social commentator on what it means to be an Australian today. The Safe Schools program was brought about a few years ago now, where it's teaching school children to be safe and responsible in their relationships, whatever their relationships look like. Whether it was a heterosexual relationship, a same-sex relationship, whatever the relationship looked like, it was about safety first. It was about acceptance and understanding. And I think it was a very important program until it was shut down for promoting gay LGBTQ ideas. Like, what rubbish is that? So I'm very much looking forward to reading this essay. It's been out for a couple of months now, and I just have not got around to it. I look forward to reading it on perhaps the day that the postal survey results are announced, which is later at the end of this month. This book I definitely recommend to Russell from Ink and Paper blog. The way Russell speaks of his nieces and nephews and how he encourages them to be strong and to stand up and do the right thing, and he encourages them all the time. I think this book, it would be right up Russell's alley. So Russell, this one's for you, Moral Panic by Benjamin Law. And the final book I'm perhaps most excited about, The Prompt of Love. No, The Prompt of Scholarship. Emma Ayres used to be my favourite ABC journalist, and she was on the Classic FM. And Emma disappeared from the airwaves, and I couldn't find her, and I didn't know what was going on. Emma transitioned to Eddie, and Eddie now teaches cello at the National Institute of Music in Kabul. This is the story of Eddie's transition, where Eddie is in his life now, and I'm very much looking forward to this memoir. I've read the first chapter, and it holds the same wit, the same humour, the same scholarly insight that Emma showed on the airwaves, and now Eddie shows in this book. This book I recommend to Adriana from Perpetual Pages. Recently she highlighted a couple of times, I think, an historical fiction novel, The Gods of Tango, about an Argentinian musician who transitioned as well. And I think this book holds a number of parallels. So Adriana, I think this is a non-fiction memoir that I think would be right up your alley. So there ends my first BookTube video. So not awkward, so not crazy, but hey, thank you for watching, and please subscribe so I'm not talking to the airways, I'm talking to myself. But have a fabulous day.